Hey, happy Monday, everyone. Glenn Calloway from the basement. Trying to get the sun out of my face. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Today, I'm going to show you how these albums are all connected and how fate plays a big role in the creation of some of the music we listen to. Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. It's not necessarily this album, I'm just using examples for the band. Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Uncle Charlie. The Allman Brothers live at the Fillmore. Jackson Browne, self-titled album, sometimes called Saturate Before Using. Derek and the Dominoes, Layla. George Harrison, All Things Must Pass. Delaney and Bonnie, Motel Shot. Blind Faith, and the Beatles. How do we get from Nitty Gritty Dirt Band to the Beatles? Before I start, tomorrow I am doing a video or weekly series with my friend Rich Strickler on Rich's channel, our Top 10 Tuesdays. And this week we're doing our Top 10 Guitarists. So please support Rich's channel. Go over and watch our videos. They've been a lot of fun so far. And I was also invited on my good friend Pat at Close to the Edge's channel. He uploaded the video a couple days ago. We did kind of a battle of the albums. Pat picked 5 albums which are considered classics. We had Led Zeppelin 4, Black Sabbath Paranoid, Wishbone Ash Argus, Jethro Tull's Aqualung, and number 5, Damn, Deep Purple in Rock. We had 6 panelists, all fantastic guys. I was so honored to be a part of this. And we each of us ranked the 5 albums. And then Pat gave points, because all the rankings were different. Gave points for first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and added up all the points. And did a ranking based on our whole cumulative ranking, and came up with what album was considered the best out of those 5. It was fun. Check it out on Pat's channel. We're going to be doing another one, recording it October 1st. I'm really excited to do it. I'm not going to give away the albums. And but anyway, go to Pat's channel. Please subscribe. Close to the Edge. Great channel. One of my favorite channels on YouTube. And yeah, so let's get started. What the hell brought this on? I was picked up a used copy in a thrift store of Greg Allman's great autobiography, Not My Cross to Bear. I read the book when it first came out. I was anxious to read it. Loved it. That was like 2016 or 17, I think. It's almost 10 years ago, 10 years ago. Haven't read it since, and I somehow my copy, I just probably traded it in or something. And I found it cheap, and I bought it, and I've been rereading it, and I just love it. It's a great book. It's been so long since I read it, and I'm so old now, it's like reading it for the first time. But Greg mentions a few connections that got me thinking about this whole musical journey and how it all evolved. And if everybody wouldn't have been in a certain place at a certain time, none of these great albums that we listen to or bands would have existed or put out the material that they did. So let's start with 1966. Now again, this particular album might not be the album. It's just using as representation of the band, because I'm not really sure about Nitty Gritty Dirt Band's discography, to tell you the truth. I have a couple of their albums which I love. But anyway, around 1966, the Allman Brothers were trying to make it. They were playing clubs all over the place. And south, they were in St. Louis, I believe, playing in a club under the name of, I don't know, the Almond Joys or Hourglass or something. I don't know, whatever it was. Anyway, the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band were in town, went to the club. John McEwen is one of the founding members of Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, one of the most important members of the band. His brother Bill was their manager, Bill McEwen, who also went on to manage Steve Martin. Bill McEwen was impressed with the Allman Brothers and said, "You guys got to come out to L.A. I'll look after you. Let's record you. Let's get things rolling for you." So off they went to L.A. Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. Let's start with that. So the Allman Brothers go to L.A., record some stuff. They hated it. There was an album recorded. They weren't allowed to have any input. It was all pop songs that were written by, the not necessarily Carole King, but you know what I mean. It was the kind of all the songwriters who were just pushing out songs for people to use, and they were not happy with what the results of that at all. But in the meantime, Greg Allman. I'm going to show the Allman Brothers, just to show. That's two bands that we have affected right now. Greg Allman meets up with Jackson Browne. Jackson Browne and Greg Allman end up sharing an apartment. They become good friends. Greg talks so highly of Jackson, and he has recorded versions of Jackson's these days. And on the album Greg made just before he passed, when he knew he was terminally ill, it's a beautiful record. Jackson guests on it, and they do Song for Adam, I think. Anyway, so Jackson Browne's involved. That's three. Duane Allman, he's starting to get well known. He's a pretty good guitar player, say, modestly. And at some point, he ends up on an album with Bonnie and Delaney, Motel Shot. This is kind of an acoustic album recorded in a motel room to keep the costs down. Very cool album. On the Atco label, they do a lot of traditional type stuff here. Will the Circle Be Unbroken, Rock of Ages, Faded Love. What else is on here? Come On in My Kitchen. Never Ending Song of Love. Going Down the Road Feeling Bad. Lonesome and a Long Way Home. Pretty good album. One of my favorite Delaney and Bonnie albums. Delaney and Bonnie go on tour with Eric Clapton with Blind Faith. I actually saw this show in 1969. Delaney and Bonnie and Eric Clapton. Blind Faith. Eric becomes friends with Delaney and Bonnie. He tours with them. He becomes friends with some of the musicians in the band that eventually become Derek and the Dominoes. But before that, Eric introduces George Harrison to this whole vibe, this whole scene with the Delaney and Bonnie and friend things. George goes out and does a few shows with them, becomes friends with those people, and he is in the midst of figuring out what he's going to do after the Beatles, and he's doing All Things Must Pass. It has a whole bunch of those people, Bobby Whitlock and Clapton and a whole bunch of them on All Things Must Pass. Then, like I said, they do Derek and the Dominoes, comes after. And what do Eric Clapton and George Harrison have in common? Well, Eric played on the White Album, and George Harrison was a Beatle. So, somehow, you go from an ex-Beatle to an ex-member of Cream to an ex-member of somebody in the Allman Brothers to Jackson Browne to all the cool people in even Leon. This could go on forever. This is a family tree that could expand to Leon Russell and Jackson Browne, the Eagles, and Boz Scaggs. You could take Duane Allman and just go like this and add Aretha Franklin and Wilson Pickett. I mean, it's just interesting how music just expands and all these people meet and collaborate, and I thought it was kind of cool. I hope you guys like this. I don't know. It was kind of it actually took me a while to get my head around it. I kind of made up this little thing so I wouldn't screw it up. But anyway, everyone have a happy Monday.